All right, let's do the third one for today. Our third value and concept to talk about: honesty and being honest. So, this is your first video. Thank you for joining me. I'm Tony. I'm a licensed counselor, and I'm putting these videos on here. These are topics I talk about with my individuals and groups to build a foundation, basically, to help us be able to, cope with life, life's challenges and be more resilient and finding more peace and happiness and, all that good stuff. So there's a lot of, I can't remember the number of groups I have, but there's a lot of them. These are the first ones that kind of build that foundation, that good narrative, that good mindset that we can just build on. All right, so the value. So value is the belief that's important to me, a core belief. And so why am I saying that honesty should be a good value for you? So let's go ahead and start. So when we talk about honesty, we're first going to talk about trust, because that's what it is, right? Honesty is being truthful. So trust. So what I have down for trust is reliability, truth or strength in someone or something. So if I trust someone or something, like if I trust my car, I trust if I go outside right now and turn my key in my ignition, that my car is going to start. It's been reliable. If I trust my wife, or I trust my kids, or I trust a friend, that they have been reliable, that they're not going to hurt me, right? That they're there to care for me, they're there to help me. So, trust in other people. Is that something that you find difficult, to trust in other people? Because it can be difficult, right? Think about what we just said trust was reliability. So the experience of something is reliable. So if you have a hard time trusting other people, maybe through your childhood or even more recent, that people have not been reliable. So you're just like, I just don't have, Tony, I don't have the experience to believe in people. So it could be very difficult, right? And so we're also going to be talking about that trust in people, but we're also going to be talking about trust in yourself. So, being vulnerable, sharing feelings with other people, is that healthy? What do you guys think? Is it healthy to be vulnerable and sharing your feelings with other people? It can be scary, most definitely. Think about the first time you told someone you loved them. Think about, and especially for men, in that masculinity things, we can't show emotion and be vulnerable. Think about showing that vulnerability and how you truly, authentically feel, not hiding anything. I mean, that's kind of freeing, isn't it? But it's also a potential to get hurt. Like I grew up, honestly, being told by my mom that men don't cry. Men don't show emotion, because what does that equal? Weakness, right? But I'm here to tell you that that's not true. That having feelings is pretty human. And when you're with someone that and that's partly not my mom's fault, that's just kind of culture, right? That's what the culture's taught us, that we need to be strong and depend, and you can depend on us, we're providers and things like that. And there's definitely a balance with that. You can be vulnerable and show emotion, and not to have it like a dependent personality and things like that, where you are being vulnerable consistently, wanting someone to take care of you. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being vulnerable and sharing your feelings and how you feel with someone, what's really kind of authentically going on. So it can be scary. You could potentially open yourself up, they get hurt. That's true. So never being vulnerable with someone is safe in a way to protect yourself. Um, so before I move on, I want to kind of keep going with this just a little bit longer. So that's the con. We could protect we could get hurt, but the benefit of doing that is then like when you finally be vulnerable, that's what makes a friend and a best friend. That's what makes a girlfriend and a potential mate for a wife, right? Someone that you have been vulnerable with, and that's a way to connect, right? Because if you're vulnerable with them, they will be vulnerable with you back, and then that forms this trust with one another, that you can depend and support each other, right? They're not going to hurt you. So it's a good thing to feel, because I don't know how strong you are. There's you can't resolve and solve everything by yourself. There's a lot of things you can, but ultimately you are going to fail and need help with something. And honestly, just think of a life that you'll never share what you truly, authentically feel and think. Now, we're all going to filter things, and even I filter things with my friends and my wife, but I share a lot of how I truly feel and authentically, right? And some of the things I'm talking about filtering is just things that are just like automatic thoughts that just kind of pop in there that I know I'm not going to say that because that can be hurtful to say, right? And we all experience those automatic thoughts, right? We can get into the whole id, ego, and superego, but we're not going to get into that today. we're gonna save that. So down the bottom, this goes along with what we're talking about. Should I assume people have bad intentions? Meaning that should I assume if I'm going to be vulnerable with someone that they're automatically going to hurt me? And that answer is no. Now, you can go through, a lot of situations where people just constantly let you down, hurt you. But we also don't want to overgeneralize, meaning that those experiences doesn't mean it's going to happen like that every time. We don't want to overgeneralize and assume that everyone's got it out for us or going to hurt us, right? Some people will. Some people will hurt us. But not everyone, right? Okay, let's move on. So this one's more about yourself, doubting my abilities and giving up. So think about the benefit we get of doubting ourselves. And people are like, what, Tony? There's a benefit from that? Yes. What it does is when you doubt yourself, you don't have to feel that discomfort of failing, right? Like, oh, I can't do that. I'm just gonna give up. So you don't have to feel discomfort of failing. But if you remember our last video about letting go and moving on, and we talked about humility, we're not afraid of failing, right? Because out of that failing comes growth, right? So that's what you miss out on. You miss out on, if you don't believe in you can handle failing, or you don't believe in messing up to build your skill set or your skills, then you're doubting yourself and you just give up. It's a horrible habit. Now, I'm not saying you should never give up. There's maybe I just don't feel passionate about this. Maybe that there's something that I am just not getting. I need to take a break from. I wouldn't say the same thing as giving up, but what I'm talking about is you never trying, or you never even using your abilities to get somewhere because you're afraid of the discomfort of failing. You don't trust that you can handle the outcome of that situation and be okay with it. So this is a good video. If you haven't watched my Let Go and Move On video and Being Humble, those are two really good videos that kind of go along with this. And lastly, understand you will get hurt by other people sometimes, but trust them regardless and forgiving and not overgeneralizing. So we kind of already a little bit talked about that. So sometimes when we have a history of people hurting us over and over again, we got to take a leap of faith, right? And we could get hurt. But that is what needs to happen, or you'll just shut yourself off and put yourself in a box. Like, who's ever heard of a story, someone dating, and they've had 5 bad experiences, and like, I'm giving up dating, right? and they get it for a long time, and then they meet that right person, right? And I'm not saying that's not how it should have happened, but they maybe they lucked out, or maybe they just shut off permanently and never date again, or open up to have new friendships, or things like that. People are like, people can be work sometimes and exhausting, but man, people make things fun. You know what I mean? Like hanging out with people and experiencing things with them. That's what makes things fun. Like if you ever think, I don't know if we have any other gamers listening, but that's what makes, for me, I'm more of a social gamer. There is certain games I like to play by myself, but nothing beats playing with other people. That's what's fun, right? And you got to open yourself up and put yourself out there a little bit, and be vulnerable and open, and be willing to get hurt sometimes. All right. Okay. These are habits to build trust. So some of these are going to be kind of common sense. First one, be true to your words, just meaning if you say it, you mean it. How many times have you had a hard time trusting someone? They tell you one thing, but then they do another thing. So when you say something, you're going to try to be a man of your words, or as the saying goes, but you're going to be true to your words, right? You're going to communicate assertively. So when you're communicating, then we'll have a group about assertive and passive aggressive, and different communication styles. So ones that will show that you are open and wanting to build relationships is the ones that are being assertive, right? Because honestly, that's the healthy communication style. If you're utilizing any other ones, then you are being aggressive, hurting the back. Passive aggressive, you're hurting the back, like kind of like under the table, cloak and dagger style. Like you're not afraid. You're afraid of conflict, but you will still try to get them back. And passive, then you're just letting people hurt you, But you want to be assertive. Number 3, don't give up. It takes time to build trust with other people. So like those individuals I was talking about who've been hurt a lot, I want you to be patient with those people. If you, they say, well, I don't know, I have a lot of walls built up. You've heard that expression. Just be patient. Like, if you show that you're reliable and that you're not there to hurt them, now you're going to mess up, you know what I mean, sometimes, but sometimes people have been really hurt in life, and then it takes them a while to really open up a little bit. And help other people. If you want to build trust with them, help them. Not to say you should go do things for them. Like, hey, if you need my help with anything, or you need someone to talk to, just let me know. And number 5 is if you want someone to build trust with you, if you're open and vulnerable with them, they're most likely going to be open and vulnerable with you back. And that's, like we said, builds that connection, that trust. All right, our last page here. Number 6, admit your mistakes, right? Think about if you were a kid and your parents came home and said, who broke the lamp? And you just said, yes, I did. It was an accident. I was playing, the ball was thrown, and I broke it, right? And you show that reliability that you're going to tell the truth no matter what, right? And you're going to admit your mistakes, then you will keep that trust with that person built. Then if you lie and you try to cover it up to try to get out of that consequence or this comfort of them being mad or whatever, but over time maybe they find out, or that you maybe didn't own up to another mistake, because owning up mistakes or not taking accountability is a habit to avoid discomfort. So it's a way to lose trust with people. Number 7, be authentic with your thoughts and feelings. Take off the mask and be yourself. So maybe we can have a conversation sometime what it means your authentic self. But that just means you're going to say what you think and feel without thinking about if people are going to judge you or not, right? Think about how freeing it would be and to leave that prison of judgment that you're trying to be, you're being fake, you're saying and thinking things that you don't really would naturally do. That you're just kind of being with the crowd, you know what I mean? And the thing is, if people can tell when you're being authentic or not, and people will build trust with that person because they, not to throw this curveball in, but that's why a lot of people liked Donald Trump, is because they thought he was authentic. You got what you got with him, and you can rely on him because they're not going to sugarcoat it and lie and be deceptive. They're going to be honest, right? That was part of his appeal. So this kind of goes along with that. I'm not saying that you're not going to have to wear a mask and be fake sometimes, because maybe that's what the situation calls for. Like, say if we're working with a customer and they're being, kind of mean to us or aggressive, and I'm not going to authentically show them how I feel. Maybe I'm going to mask that to stay calm. If I feel I'm past the six, I'm going to try to stay calm and resolve the situation best I can. But I'm talking about more in a freeing kind of atmosphere or environment where there's no consequences if I can just speak my mind, right? I'll probably get maybe someone's disapproval, and that's fine, but people are going to believe in me and trust me more if I can be authentic. All right, so I think it's the last page. So, let's recap a little bit here. We talked about how tough it is sometimes to trust in other people, and what we lose out when we don't. And we talked about what we lose out when we don't trust ourselves. Trust that we can cope with certain things and have courage to deal with certain things, right? We lose out on opportunities to build on ourselves. And we talked about habits to build trust with other people. Oh no, I messed all this up. And it can take some time when you break someone's trust, but it doesn't mean you can't get it back. It just takes time, right? And the more time it takes usually depends on how many times you broke their trust, right? So I want to wish everyone a great day. Hope everyone is doing well, being safe. If you have any questions or have anything you want me to talk about, just let me know below. And I hope someone's getting something out of these videos. But I really enjoy making them, and this is kind of a way that I can, like I said before, share things, and people want to kind of rewatch things that I've talked about before. I can just kind of show them, hey, here's this video here that we already talked about, and hopefully that's helpful in some way to someone. So, but you guys take care, and hopefully you're doing something that you feel passionate about, rewarding, and you're finding some joy in. But till we talk again, you guys have a great day. All right, bye.